welcome back to Flying Solo with Kat. And today I'm really excited to talk about Tales of the Empire. Yes, I immediately jumped for joy when I found out that the Tales series was going to be a thing. Of course, we had Tales of the Jedi, which I've yet to talk about on here. I've mentioned it a couple times, but Tales of the Jedi was actually one of my favorite shows that came out. I really should do an episode on that, but today we're talking about Tales of the Empire, which focuses on Morgan Elizabeth and Barriss Offrey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, starting off with Morgan Elizabeth, I think seeing her connection with her mother and just seeing overall like the Night Sisters fighting against the Separatists and Grievous was really cool to see. I'm happy that we, quote unquote, finally got to see it in the Clone Wars style type animation. And I think Morgan Elizabeth is such an interesting character to do a spotlight on. I feel like a lot of times she's forgotten, of course, Ahsoka spoilers, but she does die for Dathomir. And when she said, long live the Empire, and then she says, for Dathomir, I found that odd. I said, oh, interesting. Are you loyal to Dathomir? What does that mean? And I love that we're able to now see her, and why she fought for Dathomir. Yeah, I think that entire fight sequence was cool. I mean, just the animation alone. I know everyone is talking about that dirt scene where she, crunches the dirt, but good lord. I mean, that looked like actual dirt. It is crazy just how Lucasfilm Animation has taken such big strides in getting these hyper realistic shots. And I know a lot of people don't like the Clone Wars style, but I love it. I think it's a classic. I necessarily don't want it for a lot of the sequel stuff. I would rather stick with the Resistance type animation, but I can never go wrong with the Clone Wars animation. So seeing her surviving and staying with like the mountain people, I thought was really interesting. I knew that wasn't gonna go as planned or as they wanted to, and I think Morgan had so much hate within her, which is why that kind of took her place. I want to know more about the mountain people. The fact that they were on Dathomir as well. What does that mean? Who are they? Clearly the older woman had magic. What is that? Is that kind of the light side of the Dathomirian magic? Is that another? I think like Night Sister magic, I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's all just the Force. Everything is the Force. Now, like different religions have different names for their gods, right? Or God. I think with a whole bunch of different cultures, Night Sister magic, um, that's just kind of one of the big ones. But even you get into like, I think it's the Old Republic where they call it different things and all of that amazing stuff. It's all the Force. Everything is the Force. So I think is that kind of like the Dathomirian light side and dark side of the Force. I don't know what it is, but I'm interested in it. Um, yeah, when her daughter got killed because of Morgan, I was kind of like, really, Morgan? We could have stopped that. I don't know if that was necessary. So I was kind of a little mad at Morgan. But I think it was interesting, like that last shot of her standing there with the fire was freaking sick. But at the same time, I think it showed that, she will burn down everything behind her. And I think throughout the 3 episodes, fire was involved. And I think that was pretty integral to the story that they were trying to tell with her. And I loved it. I loved her, with second episode, we're talking about her with the Empire, to where she brought up Corvus, which I thought was great. If, Battlefront 2 fans over here, I was happy that we got another Corvus drop. And, the fact that she's kind of trying to give her speech to the Imperials and flat out told her, no, we're gonna just, take what we want because we don't want to have to pay your people. I love that we see that. You guys know I'm a fan of the Empire, learning about the Empire, the politics of it. And for me, that was amazing to show. And, realistically, because it costs too much money, right? Even Thrawn says that at the end of episode 3, is that, um, or not episode 3, episode 2, that it costs too much money. That is why they don't see the value in it. But Thrawn, of course, did. We get to see Pelion. I love Pelion, especially when he showed up in Mando season 3. Like, yes, also I believe he showed up in Andor. I think Pelion is like one of the guys that like shows up kind of everywhere, and one of the most integral like Imperials ever. I think next to probably Tarkin. Um so seeing Paleon in here too, and kind of like being Thrawn's little errand boy, not Ellie, but him kind of going to see, okay, who's loyal to the Empire, but who's more loyal to themselves, right? And let's kind of root them out. So the fact that Pelion was able to do that, they sent a bounty hunter. I love Thrawn, and like that's so Thrawn, where he's like, yeah, no, I wanted him to kill you, but the fact that you didn't die, we're buds now. And I think that was special too. I think she knew, okay, Thrawn's different. Thrawn is not just like any other Imperial. By the way, Thrawn looked damn good. Whoa. Okay. Hot take. I don't hate any of the Thrawns. I think my least favorite Thrawn is the live action Thrawn. And then you have Rebels, and then this one. Oh, they did Thrawn correctly. I think with each of them are their own styles, right? I loved that Lars Mikkelsen was able to play Thrawn in the live action. I love him. No hate to him. He did the best that he could, especially without CGI and wanting to do, I believe it was CGI that he did. They didn't do any of it actually on his face, which is totally fair. With, of course, him in Rebels, that was the Rebels style. The Rebels were way more animated, way more bright and colorful. I don't mind him in Rebels. I think he's fine. He's, kind of simplistic. But this Thrawn, oh, damn. Like, I get it. Like, Thrawn fans, you got a good one. So, love seeing him, love seeing Paleon. And overall, I think seeing how Morgan kind of found Thrawn, or basically Thrawn found her, was very, very cool. On to episode 3. I hate the New Republic. Y'all know this. I promise I'm not a First Order sympathizer, but damn, those clothes are disgusting. I hate the blue so much. And literally, I only hate them because of their clothing, and also they're just super naive. But at the same time, that blue is doing nothing for them, and it's not good. So, I knew they were gonna die. I was like, if Morgan has any taste, she's gonna kill him. But the fact that just the New Republic just thinks that they can come into these planets and be like, oh yeah, no, like, we've basically called for your arrest, and for your crimes against the New Republic, and we're gonna kind of just take over your settlement, and you're gonna relinquish all of your power for all of these different planets. Like, it's actually funny how they didn't think, like, how they want to resolve all of this peacefully when basically you're second to the Empire. Like, it's crazy. And I love when we see this type of stuff, because you're supposed to think the New Republic is stupid. That's what they're doing. I saw someone tweet basically saying, like, I don't know why they keep showing us, the New Republic being stupid and stuff. How did they stay in power this long? Or how did they defeat the Empire? That's what I'm saying. And they defeated the Empire by, war, basically. But after, the New Republic doesn't want to do anything. They do not want another conflict. They want to try to keep the peace as much as, they try. But in reality, that just leads to a bigger problem of the First Order being reborn. And that is why I think the Resistance First Order War is so, so important. And people just miss that. Like, basically, I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, Empire and the Rebels are like World War One, right? And then you have frickin' First Order and Resistance is like World War Two. And I'll let you decipher who is who, but like they have even so much more anger in, the sequels with the First Order and then, of course, the Final Order. And people that just have no media literacy and just are like, that's stupid. Why would you just bring back the Empire? Like, no, it is so important that the Empire comes back because you can see how no one knows how to rule the galaxy, basically. I think kind of the Jedi, or the original Republic did it best. But even then, you had, of course, the Separatists that, came up, and Palpatine, of course, orchestrating literally everything. But that was kind of the only quote unquote peaceful time. And even then, you still had, the Hutt cartel, slave trade, all throughout the galaxy. You had, again, the Separatists, you had the Rise of the Sith, you had the Jedi kind of not being that great, but they weren't as bad as the Empire, or at least say that. So seeing that through the New Republic, and every time we see the New Republic, and that's why I love Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka is one of my new favorite shows, is that it is not afraid to show the New Republic as naive and stupid. As well as Mando season 3, even though it wasn't as shown enough, even Mando is like, who are these? I hate the New Republic. This is stupid. And I think that's kind of a lot of people. So I love that they're not afraid to do that, and they got totally owned by Morgan Elizabeth. I was very happy about that. Kind of sad. But I liked how, of course, she burned the forest down, and that kind of leads into how Ahsoka finds it in Mando season 2. And just everything connects so well together. And, I give my compliments to the writers and, storyboard artists that are, making up these things to make sure they match all together. So overall, Morgan Elizabeth section, amazing. I always love more Empire stuff when it comes to politics and not focusing on Jedi or the Sith. I feel like it's so good and so underrated in a sense, and I know a lot of people saw the promise in Andor and everything, and of course we're having the Acolyte come out, which is going to be the Jedi version of that, but I'm hoping we get more stories that are just focused on the politics. The First Order, please. Or even Resistance, Tales of the Resistance, Tales of the First Order. I do think we will probably get Tales of the Rebellion next. We need Tales of the Rebellion, Tales of the High Republic, which we actually might get, Tales of the Sith. I think that one sounds pretty sick. Tales of the First Order, and Tales of the Resistance. So I think overall it is something that they can really do so much with. I am sad that it's only 6 episodes, right? You only get 3 episodes per character. But even with Morgan Elizabeth, I felt like that was enough to know her story and to know, okay, why is she doing this? That's why she did that. Okay, well, why did she do? Oh, okay, that's why she did that. So overall, it was amazing. Loved it. Let's talk about Barriss. So Barriss was interesting going into it. I never really connected well with Barriss in the Clone Wars as it was. I am part of the fandom that did the Ahsoka Barriss ship, and I kind of read more Endor, and that made me a bit more interested, but she wasn't a character on my radar. So when I heard they were doing it on her, I'll be real, I was not excited at all. I think as in total, I know there's still so many stories that Lucasfilm want to tell with the Clone Wars because it was George's original vision. But I think we need to move away. I'm kind of over it. I'm done with the prequels. So when I heard she was getting it, I was like, okay, whatever. But I actually really liked her story. Her becoming an Inquisitor, like the early Inquisitors, is really interesting. I love how I was able to see Marok and the bird dude from that Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi episode. So it kind of connected well together with that. The head Inquisitor, I don't know what it is, but seeing Rebels characters in Clone Wars style animation is so good. I love it. I loved it with Thrawn, and I love it with the head Inquisitor guy. They just look So good. As well as kind of the woman who's mentoring Barris. I think she was done really well. I loved seeing the Fortress Inquisitorius. That of course we saw in Kenobi, and of course Jedi Fallen Order. And I just think overall, like the connection, Star Wars does a great job at just connecting different stories together, and that's how I felt about the Morgan Elizabeth section. But with Barris's, I feel like the first two episodes are so strong in that respect, in tying everything together. It kind of made me feel like the Dooku episodes in Tales of the Jedi, where I was very much invested. And then you have, of course, episode two, where we really get to see the Inquisitors in action and kind of using fear as a tool, right? And they think that fear is power, but it's not. And Barris realizes that. She knew there were problems with the Jedi, and her whole problem was them literally taking, children and indoctrinating them into the Jedi Order. And she didn't have a choice. She wasn't given a choice because, they wanted to make sure every Force user was fighting for the Republic. But you have the same thing with the Empire, and Barris realizing that is really integral to her character and to her story, and I like how she realizes that, and still she's just so sweet. Even with her helmet that she wears, it's just like she's so down to earth, and was she right about the Jedi? Partly yes, but partly no. She didn't go about it the right way. But she is kind of stuck with the Empire, but even then they don't match her views, so she's kind of very much an outcast on both sides, which sucks for her. But her going to that planet trying to find like the Jedi, and basically her talking with the kid and thinking, okay, we just need the information, and just the other Inquisitor going ballistic and killing all of them. I mean, that was shocking. That was like, okay, this is like we're getting into some stuff, which I like. I like when Star Wars goes dark, especially when you're talking about the Empire. I feel like it's necessary to convey your point, and it was done really well with that. And it was sad that basically the kid, was left. And quite honestly, it pissed me off too. Like, I normally, when it comes to like fictional shows and stuff, I don't really tend to get pissed off with characters. I'm just like, okay, that's just kind of what they had to do because that continues the story. But this one, I was pissed. I was like, really? You couldn't have just like let them go? So that, it actually did, startle an emotion out of me, which I loved. And when, they do that, they basically win. Um, so second episode was great. I'll talk about the pronoun thing in a second. But I actually really liked them. I liked the Jedi. I honestly don't even remember their name, which I will again talk about in a little bit. But I like them. I wanted to see more of them. Why were they there? They had a blue lightsaber. Were they one of the kids at the Jedi Temple? Is this like 10 years after? Is he like early 20s or 14 or 15? I couldn't really get that from their age. Um, but overall, I wanted to know so much more about them. I was getting major Raylo vibes, though. Major Raylo vibes with Barris healing them and saying you're not alone. I'm like, whoa, okay, what am I watching? Am I watching The Last Jedi right now? Like, what is happening? And then also Barris with the Force healing. We see Force healing for now, I believe it's a third time? Yeah, maybe second time. Because I think we only see it in The Rise of Skywalker. And then I think it's alluded to in Ahsoka. Yeah. Maybe it's in Rebels as well. I don't know. I know people are kind of pissed about it, but I mean, pissed about that scene for other reasons. But I was getting major Raylo vibes, and I love them. I hope they like it. I don't know. It just like kind of ended abruptly. Did they die? Were they saved? Did they help Barris find their place. Like, what? So I felt like there was so much missing from that end of second episode, and I was just completely lost in the third episode. Why are we on this snow planet? Is this Ilium? Is this, legitimately Ilium? I thought that for a second. I don't think it was. Why is this family traveling thousands of miles? Oh, okay, Barris is a healer. There are two beings that kind of follow her, or, and okay. I'm trying not to be hard on this episode because I did like this episode. I was just lost and I wanted to know, why is she there? I mean, of course she's hiding from the Inquisitors, but why? I feel like Barris would turn and fight and get revenge, but maybe because of the Jedi that she met, they kind of changed her outlook on the entire situation. But also, where are they then? Like, did they die? What is happening? So I'm just like totally lost. And I guess she's a healer, and of course the Inquisitors are there hunting the kid. She feels, she knows that the kid's force sensitive, but at the same time, it's kind of like I almost don't care enough about the kid. Now, that was a beginning of the episode. I did finally care about them and their family, and I really was glad they got away because Barra sacrificed herself. Um, and I felt that was as well integral to her story of, living on in the next, you know, Jedi, I guess, right? So that was good, but, I thought she killed the woman Inquisitor when she pushed her off the ledge in episode 2. So seeing her back again, I was like, oh. And it seemed like Barriss knew she was alive. So I don't know if that was they were hoping for it to be like a like a twist, but for me I was just like kind of confused. I think it confused me more than like shocked me. Because I truly thought that was over, right? I thought, okay, this is going to be Barriss's time to kind of reflect, and we're going to see her, you know, handle herself with that. But no, she still has to fight the girl, I guess, again. I loved the cave sequence. I think that was done really well. Also, seeing Barriss like older is kind of refreshing because we see all the Jedi kind of like die young, unfortunately, and don't really make it to old age. So seeing Barriss like with the wrinkles and stuff. By the way, the animation in Tales of the Empire is actually freaking crazy, and just shout out to Lucasfilm Animation. You guys are amazing. So just seeing Barriss older, conveyed such like happiness, at least in me, because it's so rare that we have these Jedi kind of live, as old as they can, right? Because they normally give themselves up, which is sad. But I think Barriss, I mean, she kind of knew it was happening, and that's kind of the vibe I was getting. Is like she knew this time was gonna come, and now it's happening. I love the cave sequence. I love just how the Inquisitor was overall just really confused and everything. Her actually killing Barriss though was shocking. I didn't think that was gonna happen. I thought, okay, Barriss is gonna kind of like talk her down, and then they're gonna hug and whatever. But no, literally her stabbing Barriss, I was like, oh my god, I was not expecting that. So I wasn't expecting that. I kind of wasn't done with Barris's story, but I guess it just happened so quickly. I liked that her death, though. Well, okay. I like how Barriss getting stabbed with a lightsaber was kind of the Inquisitor's push to get out and to find the way out. Now, okay, I think the episode title was The Way Out. I read it as One Way Out, and I'm like, okay, look, I know that Andor episode is really good, and I love me some Andy Serkis, but we gotta do the Way Out thing, because I think there was a Bad Batch episode. Well, I mentioned it for Omega trying to escape one way out. Or she says one way out. So I just thought it was really funny, but I feel like it pops up everywhere. I need to do a review on that episode. So they get out of the cave, and then the Inquisitor's like, I can save you though, or whatever, and then it just ends. So is Barriss dead, or what? I don't know. I feel really bad being harsh on like these 3 episodes because I know a lot of people enjoyed it and I'm happy that you enjoyed it. I loved it too. Like I said, the animation was shocking to me. It was beautiful. I just felt like there were so many incomplete storylines with Barris. You can't just do that in 3 episodes. I feel like with Morgan Elizabeth, when you focus on a character that's we already know so much about, it's not as bad. We saw Morgan die in Ahsoka. That's the end of it, right? Unless she comes back. But I already knew some essence of her story. But with her Tales of the Empire 3 episodes, it filled in those gaps. So I didn't feel like I was just kind of getting whiplash with her lore. Same with Ahsoka. We know so much about Ahsoka. So it was nice to get those little story beats kind of in there. We had one with her and Anakin. We had one her after the Jedi Order with the Martez sisters. And then we had her, kind of after the fact when the Empire with the Inquisitors. Dooku's. I loved Dooku's. That's actually probably my favorite one. We know what happens to Dooku. We kind of know who he was before he turned to the dark side, but to see those gaps filled in, to see him actively erase the Camino traces, for him to be at the funeral of, or for him to miss the funeral of Qui Gon. I mean, that, like, seriously, it is shocking. The battle with Yaddle. I loved Dooku's 3 episodes so much, but I never felt like I was getting whiplash with his story or that I was still missing some information. Barris, because we don't know so much about her, and really we just got those couple episodes in the Clone Wars, I feel lost. I feel like I don't even know this character. Why should I care about this character? And I think that's the struggle when you're not focusing on legacy characters in the Tales series. My concern is that they're gonna do more stuff like not focusing on legacy characters, which I think can go good and bad. They have to go about it right. Focusing on Morgan Elizabeth, who I would argue is not a legacy character. I love her, but she is not Thrawn, or, she is more of a side character. We still know enough about her to put in that stuff. Ahsoka is definitely a legacy character. Dooku, a legacy character. Barris, I don't know how much you could say. She's definitely a side character, but even at the fact, I'd say she's very much a background character. I'd say Morgan with Ahsoka, um, was very out there. I think if we didn't see Morgan in Ahsoka with Thrawn, I think her 3 episodes would have been like Barris's, and I would have been very lost with how things were connecting. So maybe we'll see more of Barris. Maybe we will have a spin-off show of, Barris and, you know, anyone else. I'm hoping, see, this is my fear for like the Tales series as well, is like once we get Tales of the Rebellion, they will focus on like non-legacy characters. And I think that's what sucks too, because it's only 3 episodes and you only get 6 episodes per Tales series. So I think they could do something really cool of Tales of the Bounty Hunters, right? Where, um, focus on like Bosk or focus on. I see that's where you get hard too, because it's like I would immediately say Boba Fett. Why wouldn't you do a Tales series on Boba Fett? And that would work well. That would be more like Ahsoka. But if you focus on like a Tales of the Bounty Hunter series on Bosk or on um, Allura Secura, we don't know as much about them as Boba Fett. So you cannot treat their episodes like how you would treat Boba Fett's. Does that make sense? I know I'm kind of talking in circles, but you need to take way more care with your side characters and with your background characters when you're doing a 3 episode, because there's so much story that you are missing that you can only put into 25 or it's not even 25 minutes. Isn't it like 15-minute episodes? So they're not even that long, which as well kind of pisses me off about the Tales series. Why not make them 30 minutes? I don't understand why they're not. I didn't check back to season one. I thought they were definitely longer in season one than they were in season two. These episodes felt really, really fast. Um, but I don't know how much that is accurate. So, it's been 2 years since we got the Tales series, Tales of the Jedi. I'm hoping we don't wait as long for Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales of the First Order, Tales of the Resistance, because they're only 15-minute episodes. Now, I'm no animator. I never want to do animation. I've tried it, and it is very, very hard, and I know it takes a lot of time. And especially with the graphics that Lucasfilm Animation was able to put out with these 6 episodes was monumental. I do think that if it's going to take that much time, if you're going to make us wait 2 years, let's put a little bit more content in there. Let's kind of focus more on, not just what these characters do, but what these characters feel. So yeah, overall, I liked it. I'll talk about the pronoun thing for a bit. If you really don't want to hear it, you could just kind of skip to the end because I'm basically gonna finish after this. But um, basically, I kind of was late to watching Tales of the Empire because I've been busy with work. But I heard, or I saw basically, don't let your kids watch Tales of the Empire. They have someone with pronouns who's non binary and they refer as they, them. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's amazing. As someone who's non binary, I love when there's representation. Yeah, 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 I know. And I was hoping, okay, that's awesome. Like maybe we get to actually see. I mean, for one, we have a non binary Jedi in Young Jedi Adventures, and I love them so much. And I felt like they actually had a personality. And if you have not seen Young Jedi Adventures, go watch it. Super, super cute. With this character, when I watched it, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get some stuffs. Not really. Which is honestly for me good because I don't like when they make such a big deal about it because that's not how the real world works. I don't have my pronouns pinned on my t-shirt, right? It's just like it's a fact of life. But with this, like I was invested in them and I wanted to win them to win as a Jedi, but I at the same time didn't. I kind of expected them to die, if that makes sense. And I felt like if you changed the story to them not being non-binary or using they them pronouns, it wouldn't have changed anything. But at the same time, Barriss and the Inquisitor didn't really ask their pronouns or didn't know what gender they were. They kind of just fought and talked. So, and I don't know how much information they had on them or what, but how they talked about it seemed more like they didn't know their gender, so they didn't want to misgender them after they basically killed them, if that makes sense. I wasn't getting, I mean, what are non binary vibes? I mean, this is like basically the culture we live in to where everything is woke and you can't have any representation. But I always find it interesting to look into the purposes why. Why was that choice for that character to be non-binary? As someone who wants representation, I want it done well. I want to make sure that I have a character that can connect with, not just because we have the same gender identity, but because of who they are and because of their morals. I found it admirable that they wanted to stand and fight even though they were so tired. I felt that I was like, oh, I'm getting some character interaction there, and I loved that they even added that in. But that was it, and then they got stabbed with the lightsaber, and I'm like, Kim, please. And I'm hoping Barriss healed them and saved them, but it's like there was just so much backlash for like, what was it, 5 seconds? It really was not that much of people were making it out, And then we had people asking, should pronouns be in Star Wars? Oh my god. I just don't even know what the world's coming to anymore. Like, pronouns are not a woke thing. Everyone has pronouns. It's just like, ugh, people. Especially in the Star Wars fandom too. Now, granted, my feed is of a lot of amazing, kind-hearted, respectful people. So I appreciate y'all for being amazing and, loving life and being on the good side of Twitter. But it's shocking to me. And I didn't honestly hear this backlash when we had the non-binary character in Young Jedi Adventures. I remember seeing like one thing about it, but it didn't get that blown up. Um, it just seems to be in when non-binary things are in adult content that adults freak out for some reason and are like, my kids can't watch this. One of the things I love about Young Jedi Adventures is that, for one, it's really cute and really sweet, and I love Nubs and all Nash, all the different characters. But at the same time, like, it is such a refreshing, newer type of kids animation that isn't afraid to put in this representation. And what is representation at the end of the day, right? I mean, everyone wants to be included in something, and I 1000% get that, because I'm so sick of getting the same, two people on a screen that are playing out the same romance that I've seen 58 times. People have two moms and two dads. Nash has two moms. It was just so natural for them to add that in. And it wasn't like, I hate saying the thing like in your face, but it truly wasn't that. She just had two moms, and that's how they explained it in the show. It wasn't a big deal. And that show is just so down to earth and just really real. And I feel like people were just blowing it out of the water with Tales of the Empire. And if you think that's bad, like, let's calm down for a second. So at the end of the day, I think it was just a blue check trying to make a quick buck. But I don't get it, people. Like, it didn't bother me. I think I was more bothered of, did they die or did they survive? I want to know that, instead of, I don't really care about how they identify, but I want to see more from them. Lucasfilm, let's do that. Let's not just introduce a non-binary character and then never see them again. Let's actually have some good development. And hey, maybe Rey's New Jedi Order, we get to see some non-binary representation. And let's do this. So anyway, I don't know. I always struggle talking about these topics because I'm always like, okay, how do I say this in like the most educated way? But at the end of the day, we're all human, and we're all just trying to make their way through this galaxy. And that's what's important, just love each other and respect each other. And Tales of the Empire was damn good. So go watch Tales of the Empire and pray that the next one is Tales of the First Order. Please, or Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I'm actually kind of going off on that idea, and I'm really freaking excited. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I love you all so much, and I really hope you enjoyed Tales of the Empire, and I will see you guys in the next one.